Hey guys, my name is Seniac and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2, the Cuban edition. Where last episode, guys, we finally set up a boat run right now to finally start exporting to the USA. It is a wild system, a wild setup right now, which pretty much allows us, guys, to ultimately produce the cigars that we are famous for here in Cuba and start sending them off all the way to the United States. Now, in doing so, we're also at the same time transporting planks of wood because we are now got timber being transported, all the way to the sawmill, which inadvertently is then bringing the planks all the way back. So we've got two different types of goods right now going to America. And I wonder if I can actually see one of the ships. I think I've just purchased all those ships right there. But can I see a ship? There we go. That's got both goods on. Which inadvertently, eventually, once I start sending the steel over, will bring the machines all the way back. Now, we have a problem. One, we're not sending steel over at the moment because we need to deliver coal over here, which we'll try and figure out today. But also, my biggest issue is it's the shipping route. It has to go all the way around to then go all the way up. Now, I've got two options. One, not so ridiculous. One, super ridiculous that I could potentially do. And what I could do is, because ultimately we've got to transport, this is the idea. We're transporting cigars, planks, and eventually steel. So the planks and steel come from here. The cigars come from over here, which is why we bring it all the way down to this harbour. Very good. Now, what I could do is I could build a secondary harbour on the north side of Cuba. Let's say I built it around here, for example. All it would then require me to do is then transport the goods on the cargo lines up to here, and then we can ship it quite easy. That's my first option. My second option is to create Cuba's very own version of the Panama Canal, where ships can sail from here all the way up through and get to there with absolute ease. It would also help other lines out, like down here with the alcohol. But again, I can also train that up to a harbour to send over as well. So it could work either way. It's just up to me what I decide to do. And I've already made my decision. And you can probably already tell by the title and the thumbnail of this video, I'm choosing the canal route, guys, okay? And I'll explain why in just a moment, okay, boys? I'll explain why in just a moment. So before we can send the steel over, before I can build the canal, we got to figure out also how we're going to do the coal system. I think this might be easier to do it via either train or vehicle. I don't see the train route making much money, and it could be a little bit of a problem. I might need to do it by vehicle, but we'll see. So let me explain why. Reason one is I don't want to add any more trains than I need to running down the main cargo line, solely because there is moments where it does crisscross with the passenger line, thus then slowing down the passenger line. And in reality, I only really want to use this main line mainly for distributing the goods to the cities. There will be times where we are running the whole length of it with cargo, but the minimal trains I can add to it, the better. So we're going to stick with this harbour system over here. So all it means, eventually we will get bigger and better and faster ships. It means transporting it down here, and I've just got to figure out around this area where the best location would be. Would it be better to cut through up there? Would it be better to come down here and build a canal to go through there? Would it make sense to kind of utilise this to kind of travel through? It's a tough one. It is a tough one. I've only got to get to there. We do have the Bahamas over here that we can eventually export to if needs be. So having a canal would be pretty good. Now, I think, looking at it, just based on what we know so far, we're coming this way. This is the shortest distance here. Just to avoid the town. Guantanamo wants tropical fruit again, guys. To avoid the town and to travel through. I actually might make it go this way, around, and then up. Which I'm going to have to kind of play around with some of this stuff. I might have to reposition it. And obviously we'll have to turn this train line into a bridge that goes over. Yikes. So let's start then. We're going to put the game into pause mode. And this is going to be the biggest, boys, landscaping project I have ever done. So I am going to now pick a spot. I actually don't know where to pick right now. So we're going to keep it to this kind of level. And I think what I'm going to do is we bring it... let me look at the topography. The topography would also kind of low-key help us out. Is this here? So you can see right now, the hill only really begins there. I don't want to go through the hill. So we are going to have to inadvertently come down here, round there, and then up. So if I keep this road on the left-hand side of our Panama Canal, I think that would work. That would work. So let me just delete this road. And I reckon we start from over here. So I'm going to just kind of landscape a very rough system of this. Oh, this is going to be ridiculous, isn't it? This is going to be ridiculous. I can't express how ridiculous this is going to be. Oh, I don't know whether I'm going to regret this instantly or what. All right, have that coming through. Okay. And then I've got to bring it all the way down. Oh my goodness me. I'm actually scared to do this. I don't know why. But I actually feel scared. Now, what I think I also should have done, and what probably would have been a better idea, is to utilize roads as a way to kind of build the layout for where they're going to be running. So I think I also might call that a better idea at the same time. So let me delete some of this road here. And I think I'm going to utilize this coming down. So let me just bring that to there. And then let me delete this a bit more as well. And we got to work out the kind of the width of how we want the canal. So if I went by a 130, does that seem big enough to get 2 ships passing through? Or do I go for a 100? A 100 could be right, but again, is it big enough for 2 ships passing through? I might go for a 120. So if I went for a 120 and then ran this up, okay, and then ran this down, is that looking okay? Yes, I believe it is. That is the width of my canal. So if I just delete this and then get rid of you for just a split second, and then I choose to run a straight road down to here, and then cut across by a 120, which will be here, and then run that way. See, this now creates a better system for me to understand how this ultimately works. So if I bring that to there, if I bring you closer, and then go for a bendy wendy, if I do the bendy wendy instantly, I feel like this needs to come slightly out a little bit more. Right, I think there's a slight bend on this anyway. Let me just delete these signals, because they might get in a slight way of us. Bring you to there, and then bring you round. Right, that's where it's going to run, which I think looks pretty good to me. Bend's there. Is the bend okay, you reckon? I think so, and then it will continue this way, which will then need another bend around this area. So if I just delete this road for a second, and then I pick to go like this, is that about right? Yes. We'll go to there, and then we'll pull this out by a 120. Run you down that way. Run you down that way. Look at that for a canal system. Oh my goodness me. So I'll base it off what we've currently got here. I don't know if that is the correct thing to do or what. On the old bend. I feel like this one's a little bit too sharp. I don't know if it's just me. But I think it will also be kind of okay. So, I now have the freedom to push all the way up to the edge of this. Which makes life a lot easier with getting the perfect alignment at this point. So there we go. There's a couple of the odd tree or and whatnot that I've got to delete, obviously. So we get to there. That is beautiful, boys. Absolutely magical right now. Get rid of that tree there. There's a tree or two there. Right, that will do me. I've got to turn those into bridges, so don't worry about those at the moment. We're going to continue over. And pushing this down. And then bring it all the way back. Okay, this has gone a lot easier than I expected, considering that we've done the alignments right now. The alignments are everything. That's made our canal system be more structurally sound. Alright, bring that all the way out. Bring that all the way back up. And then... Is it better to smooth it? On the openings? I think so. Yeah, it looks a little bit better. Right, I have a beautiful... Oh my goodness me. It's a beauty, boys. It is a beauty right now. So I'm going to have to transform this to kind of elevate going over. So I've got enough room for the ships to obviously make their passage. Right, delete you to there. And I reckon we delete you to there. So I'll redo all of that. Don't worry about that. Get rid of all of this. I'm probably going to redo the road as well because it does change elevation based on the train system, train tracks. So if I delete you to there, if I delete you to there. There we go. And then we'll get the smoothie out slightly. And then we'll get the flatty out. Nice. Very good. So what we'll do then, we know it doesn't start to bend until just after here, I feel. So I might pull this back to there. And then we'll build the bridge from over here. So train track wise, we'll go for this one there. And if I bring it to... So let's say we choose to go up, up. And it's going to bridge there no matter what. And we'll choose that steel bridge. Which I think would be perfect for us. So keeping that going in a straight line, but bring this then arching to come down. So what do you reckon? There maybe? I don't know whether that's too much of an arch or I keep it... Okay, I've chose that now. Okay, so let me just do the two middle tracks. And see how they kind of fit in with this. Right, the bend itself. Maybe we should have kind of implemented a slight bend. Because that would run like this. Okay, I think... Right, I think if I delete to there and there, there and there, we've dropped it down too much. So if I go to here, let me attempt this one. Because you get a better alignment, I feel. All right, bring this up and over. Bring that round and then down and in. Right, I feel like this is the way to go. Yes, no dramas. No dramas, I feel, anyway. I can't wait till we can do high-speed rail. Because the high-speed rail, coming from here, goes differently, but it now allows me with the bridge to kind of make it go a little bit different and take a different route. It made the underpass and overpass of the high-speed rail, from this station at least, be a lot better. It really has. I might even actually end up readjusting this. I don't know. So a nice little gradual overpass. And then coming down. I don't know whether that's a nice gradual decline. I feel like... Right. We're going to increase the decline. So the gradient is not as harsh. So if I choose you to run to there... Maybe go back by one more. And I think that is a better gradual decline. Now, of course, I've got to play around with all the roads that I've now just deleted. That is a better bridge, isn't it? That is actually a really nice bridge. So signals then, we now get to set up. So I'll do a set of signals here. So that's how they go. We'll do a set just here. And the next set is just there. So I'm just going to do another one just here. Oh, no. Right. Signals across the bridge. Very nice, very nice. So what roads have we slightly oofed then? Now, we had a road coming through, which is to do with this road leading up, wasn't it? And obviously, we've got this road here as well. So we're going to have to play around now with the road system. I don't want to create roads cutting across. We will create roads that bridge over. So let me find a good point for where said bridge will go over. So if I utilize... this small country road, and if I made it go straight, I then just choose to go up and over, right? Now, obviously, changing the bridge to something like this could potentially work. But then I eventually got to implement a high-speed rail somehow. Is that too high? I think the alignment's all completely wrong. So if I was to go, for example, let's say I went, because this is a tricky one. So I know the high-speed rail is going to come down this way. So my bridge here is completely fine for crossing. Unless I incorporate the crossing of the bridge with the rail, like I could incorporate a bridge, like a road bridge there. See, I could do that, right? I could do that, but it's a big but. I would want it to align on this road. But then, where does it go? I don't know. I think I'm going to wait to do the bridge when I do my high-speed rail line, which then does inadvertently force a lot more people to utilize my rail network. I'll at least get them connected to this road anyway. Just for the sake of it. I don't know what they're going to choose to do here. But it should not ever create a bridge. because there's no city close enough to kind of make that judgment. So now, technically, I've divided the island and vehicles can't go anywhere, but that's not going to stay like that. I'm going to implement bridges once I get my high-speed rail line in, because then I'll incorporate the road bridge alongside of it, which will make a lot more sense. So, I've got it in. I've just got to hope that that is high enough and doesn't cause us any problems. So if I check my alignments, yes. I've also got to hope that we don't have any issues with the boats. And what I mean by that is, I've got to hope that I've made it wide enough. It could not be wide enough. It might be a little bit of trial and error. It might not be wide enough. Now, shipping, we can do buoys for waypoints. So I could say, like, how do you rotate these? Oh, like no, okay. I could say that you go there and you go there. But like I said, I don't know if it's wide enough. Especially not for the big ships that we're eventually going to get. You know what I mean? I don't think this is going to be wide enough, boys. So let me just throw these down as a way of to which we can kind of see if this system is about right. Now, I know the bridge is going to mean that they filter in, but I'm not worried about that just yet. All right, this will be interesting. And then we'll do one there. Spin this right round. There. And there. And then I'll make the entry point here. The exit would go there. So they're a bit more spaced out. And then the same here. So they're a bit more spaced out. We'll see if that works or not. It could legit just not work. So the USA export line. So from Pina del Rio to the USA, we then add a station on the waypoint. And we try and get them to stick to it. But I've got a suspicion, right, that we are going to have to make them, or make the canal a bit wider. And then on the port coming back, so this is where we'll see if it actually works or not. And by the looks of it, no. So would you argue the canal needs to be slightly a bit wider? I would argue yes. But where do I make it wider? I feel like the land does increase on this side. It's more flat this side, so we expand it this way. But how much wider do we expand it is the question. Right. If I come off this by an extra... We've done 120. So if I come off it by an 80, that means the whole thing is a 200 in width, which I think actually is going to be fine. Let me simulate this elsewhere. So an 80, so plus the 200. So plus the 120 gives us a 200, which I'll have to redo the bridge, obviously. So to there, and then obviously that will bend round. And it's wider that I can do proper waypoints then, can't I? Because that's something that I didn't really kind of think of. I'm going to have to reposition that food factory. So out by an 80. See, once I get this right, sound, mate. Nothing to worry about ever again. So just remember, I owe this area an additional food factory. Just remember that, boys. So it bends around there. I feel like that bends around there, so that should be something like this, right? Right, let me delete you. Delete you. Delete you. And then just delete these extra bits. And I'll redo the bridge. Oh, actually, I don't know if I need to redo it. Oh, I don't know. Okay, we'll decide. Right, let's put it back into pause mode right now. Make it a little bit easier for us. Wow, these bridges are a lot longer. This canal's going to be huge. Because I've also got to think, right, just think about when we eventually unlock the bigger tugboats. I can then start to see how that would inadvertently become an even bigger issue moving forward. Right, hold on. I owe the place a food plant. Let me just get that in while it's fresh on my mind. I don't know where to pull it, so I'm just going to throw it in. Just there, okay? I don't know where else to pull it, but I owed it. I've got it back in. Right. So let's now push this out to be a bit wider. So I've gone out by an 80, which I've now increased it dramatically, the size of the canal. I've increased it dramatically. Right. There we go. Push this out. We will smoothen it all again. Right, there we go. Up and down, up and down. Like a roller coaster. Oh. Make sure we got the correct height. Otherwise, it'll be embarrassing. Yeah, we're going to have to redo that bridge just to be able to get the right height alignment. Right, making sure all this is smoothed out. Do we have like a different height here? I don't think it's going to be an issue. But I'd rather have the whole canal be the correct height. Right, no other differences, is there? No. Right, look at it now. Oh my goodness me, it's even wider. Okay. Breathe, Seniac, breathe. So, with that said, I'm now going to redo all of these, which is going to cause issues, I think. Right, the line that's stuck to them, let me just manage this real quick, and let me just get rid of everything on them. So I think that's what's causing us the slight little lag delay with getting them all updated. All right, get rid of you, get rid of you. So without the waypoints, this is how it now looks coming through, which we can work with that. We can work with that right now. All right, get rid. Get rid. Get rid. And I'm going to have to redo that bridge one more time just so I can sort out the spacing of the pillars. We could also have no spacing, like no pillars. But I do like the idea of pillars though, because it does look a little bit more authentic. You know what I mean? So that train's got to go. Let me wait for this train to pass through. Let me fast forward. Right, we good to go? Yes. Pause. So let me delete it from this point. And Alright, absolute chaos being caused now. Right, that's all gone. Let's just sort out this terrain. And then the train tracks come up and over. And I believe we raise up by 2. So the supports want to go there. But let me just see. Because when you start to do multiple, the supports start to change. And then we get them there. So we could use that one for one oncoming, that one for the other oncoming, which actually works out pretty perfect. Right. And then let me delete back one more. Just delete them real quick. Because I've now got to do the gradient leading up to it. So from there to there. Oh, that's all in. Oh! The pillar's back. That's not what I wanted. Oh, no. Right, how am I going to do this? I think we need to go a little bit further, right? Right, let's go to there. Aha! We've got it in. Right, perfect, perfect, perfect. We've got the gaps under the bridge for the ships. Okay, let me now just get the signals that I've now deleted back in. I don't think we need as many now, looking at it, what we had previously. And we got a set there and a set there. We can just really just do a set here. Just put it in the middle. Right. So I'm going to go shipping waypoints, by the way. And we'll try and treat it the same way the trains work. So we'll start... Okay, we'll start first here. And then we'll kind of come in. And then we'll try our best to run down and keep them all separate. So I'll do it every so often so I can maintain the alignment. Right, we'll get the one on the bend. And then keep it going. Bam. Bam. And then we'll go through in the middle here. Bam. Trying to keep them all on that one side. It's probably way too many waypoints. But I'm trying to keep them all separate so they're not tripping over the other ships coming the opposite way. And I'm going to put that just there. So spin this right round to where we'll put this one here. Now they've only got to go up, making life easier. So easy, boys. So bam. And then just mimic these coming down. So get that just going under. I'm hoping they're not too far spaced away though. That's going to be like my next issue. Just making sure we got the bend locked off. Right. We've got the waypoints in. Let's just hope that this is going to work. So coming from Pinadaria right now, we add the station. So it's the waypoints that we're adding to. Which should convert it quite nice. Through here. Right, this is better. That's better. Then from the USA, it does put them closer to the side of the canal, which it's fine. But what I need to avoid is these sharp movements here. Those sharp movements there slow the ships down. You know what I mean? By how much? I don't know. I don't know, but it's happening just here. So if I was to delete this one... Right, it doesn't hinder us anywhere. That's fine. Don't need that one. I don't need all of the waypoints. It's just what causes us to have a dramatic turn. I think I can get rid of this one. And I think I can get rid of this one. Could I also get rid of this one? And could I get rid of this one? As that's a straight run up. I can probably get rid of you. Because the more I get rid of, the better the bend into it. Because the smoother it is, like I said, the better. So that works to there. We get to here. I wonder if I can get rid of this. Yes. And get rid of you two. Okay, we didn't need as many as I thought we did. No. Now, they will decide to do some shenanigans here, though. But I don't know whether that's... like, because of all of this. I don't know why they decide to turn in there. But then they switch over. That's not my concern. It's making sure that they run through the canal system smoothly. So there we go. We've done it. I've built a canal. Forget the Panama Canal, the Cuban Canal, boys. The Cuban Canal right now. And it's absolutely fantastic. Last thing I've got to do real quickly is just smoothen the ends. And obviously smoothen what you can see on the sand front. Other than that, that's fine there. Do the same here. Smoothen the entrance. Smoothen you. There we go. Back into play mode, baby. Back into play mode. So that will heavily reduce the time it takes the ships to transport the goods to the USA. Heavily reduce the shipping times right now. And as you can see right now, our first boat going down. Oh, it's so wide. It's so beautiful. But we eventually will have bigger ships. Okay, we'll eventually will have a lot bigger ships right now. So that is, for now, the perfect size. The perfect size. And before you say anything right now, Seniac, it looks absolutely ridiculous right now. Trust me, once we're all integrated and roads are connected and rail lines, it will feel like it's not even a separate part of the island anymore. So, with that now done, right, that is one of the Mexico ships, right? Yes. Now that's all done, we got to figure out how we can increase the exports now. So making sure that the ships are always filled to the brim. So what are we actually delivering back down here? So we know we're delivering cigars back. There is always lots of cigars to head back right now. This is the train taking the cigars back. You're the train doing tobacco, which goes all the way to over here. Which there is a lot of tobacco available, so let's edit both of these trains to have a few more cargo box... is it boxcars? It is, right? A few more boxcars being thrown on. So 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we'll go 3. 1, 2, 3. So that will increase the amount of... tobacco we can now carry back. Perfect. This needs lots of wood. Now, the wood is coming from over here. There's lots available, but there's only really one train on here. So let me edit this to include a couple of extra flat car side stakes. 1, 2, 3. But also, more importantly, duplicate a second train. Duplicate a second train. Now, is that going to make this line even busier? Yes. Do we have all the signals in place to make sure that is not anything we need to worry about? Yes. Now, we're going to edit this to have the gondola to go 1, 2, 3. And then duplicate you. So that's an extra 2 trains coming through this lined system. Everything should be in place for it not to be an issue. But you still got to be careful. You still got to be careful, boys. Seems to run smoothly. Lots of trains. Everyone knows their role right now. Everyone takes their part. That will increase, right, the amount of planks that now can be produced. And the amount of cigars that can be produced. But it doesn't increase the amount of cigars that gets delivered. But we're not even at that number yet to even worry about it. So that works out for us tremendously. So now then, we've got to figure out how we can also then start sending the steel over. Because that's going to be my next issue. Now, the train that delivers the planks, right, is... Do I have that train? I mean, yes, we do have that train, sorry. There's actually 2 of them. And what they're mainly doing right now is just picking up the wood to deliver here. Then any planks available, they'll then take back. But they can also take back steel, which gets dropped off here. Now, they can only do that if steel's being produced. The steel plant in question is only getting ore. We need coal. Now, we can either bring the coal from over here, which is a very simplified system, or we can bring the coal from over here, which would mean we earn more money. Now, to do it here means you have a train going back and forth, and it'll be super slow. And it could clog up our system quite rapidly. And the distance means it probably wouldn't really make that much money. Now, if I integrated it from over here, I could then place it on our cargo line, which I can kind of bring it out, connect it to, off its skedaddles, no problems, running all the way down. All it will then have to do is come down here, and then we'll have to create a turn there to lead it on that line. Now, currently we only have the ore line on them too, which will then have the coal line on. And then we've got steel being produced. Now, because of the distance of it compared to the ore line, that could be a rate delivery issue, but we can increase that by having bigger carriages or even just having a third train on that line. It's not a problem. Okay, it's not a problem. Now, if I can get steel produced, it means that gets exported to the USA, which means they can then start producing machines, which then will then bring back the machines, and then I can deliver it to cities like San Cristobal. How cool is that? It's pretty good, right? And Matanza, even though it's got to sail past these 2, I can train it all the way over because they've got to come back anyway. So it's just trying to make the lines make money both directions. Right now, they don't make money both directions, and I want to completely change that. It's so cool right now. Now we get to see the ships coming through the system. It's so much faster, isn't it? It's so much faster. So I am going to bring it from over here, just because it does mean we make more money, and it will spread out the congestion on this junction a little bit better too. So let's do that then. So directly after, let me pause again. So directly after the junction here, we will allow it to create the bend. Now, do I do that, or do I allow it to run a secondary line coming down? Because it comes off there. I could also allow it to maybe, after all of this, run into a second line instantly. Or we just allow it to merge over and have coming off this another 2 sets, but I'd rather keep them all as it is. There's no drama then, is there? So if I brought it off this, and let's say I brought it all the way around, I've got to find where it makes the most amount of sense. So something like this works. something like that does work. Hopefully with this bend here. And then we've just got to readjust the signals. So get rid of them. Get rid of you. Let's get rid of them too. So the signals would now be you. Oh, no, not you there. You're the one I don't want. One there, one there. And then I'll do one there, one there. We'll then do, that one's there, okay. That one's there. That one's then is there. We'll do one there and one there. Pushing them through. And then we need one after, which is further down, which is fine. So that's all I need to do there to make that system work. That's all I need to do. I know it looks very complicated right now and quite complex, but the signal's in place and they should do their job. The only thing that would hinder me if one train is technically a little bit too long, that it overhangs an important signal that causes us some issues with another train waiting at another signal or blocking a path. That's where my issues might lie. But it's not that busy. We do have a few trains circling around, and because it's going to be quite a long line and spaced out, I don't see us having the major issues we're probably expecting. So what I'll do then is we'll get a nice little road here. And then bring that down to about here. And then bring that down there. So that road there should now inadvertently allow me to set up a cargo line with 2 sets of tracks, super long. And place you there. So that now is going to be set up for us to start accepting cargo pickups. So smooth all that off there. So I don't want to look too ridiculous. Right. We'll do that. It's going to probably get turned into a tunnel as well. So the train tracks then, we could bring it, I mean it is a little bit of a mountain here. I could bring it from here to turn in and then like that. Could be a possibility. I could bring it there. Now you got to remember, the cargo's in the middle. That's what we got to remember right now. The cargo line is in the middle. So I want to do it where it is the least destructive as possible. So if I was to run this straight, right, just to give me an idea of where we're going with this. I could bring it out to there, so that runs completely straight. And then, so if I do that like this, it's never normally a good idea just to kind of run it straight like this. But then to choose something like that, how do I feel with that? Listen, guys, at some point we have to give Guantanamo right now its tropical fruit. Because they are demanding it so bad. Alright, that does that to the road. Which, I'm going to... It's a tough one, isn't it? Because my other options are I could also bend it. I could bend it away like this. Maybe bring the height down so the road doesn't go too crazy. And then it kind of siphons itself in. Let me try this way first instead. So bringing that right round. Let me now delete all of this. It's just getting it right. If I can get it right. And what makes sense, more importantly, then it's perfect. So we've got a nice little tunnel, which we'll take. And that runs in like that. So I think that makes a little bit more sense. Kind of. And the signal to turn in is there. We'll utilize that. That's completely fine. And then we've got 2 signals that would need to go here to wait for the train. That's to wait for the train as well. That's that way, that way. And, oh, we got to do crissy-crossy. Okay, so if I can maybe incorporate the Crissy Crossy just in the tunnel. Shouldn't be an issue. Yes, there we go. Perfect. Right, that's done. That's done, boys. Back into play mode. So another new line. And we're going to deliver from here to over here. And we need to make sure that it utilizes the right platform. So these 4 here. And it can utilize both of them. Now, we're going to call it still the Pina Del Rio, but we're going to call it Colt, so we know exactly what's going down with that. Right, so what I'll do is we're going to duplicate the exact same train. So if I duplicate it, but we're going to put that train on the Pina Del Rio coal line. Okay, then I get the coal line, and I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to duplicate. We're going to add 3 trains as opposed to the 2 trains on that line. And they will now come out. So because the way this is set up, they're going to come this way first, stop there, then head back. But it gives us time to build up a huge amount of coal reserves on the platform anyway, by the time they get over here. So the only time they crisscross the passenger line is going to be here, as you can see. And I'm just going to double check. Oh, okay. This is what I don't like, is them utilizing... I mean, do I want them to mainly utilize... Oh, they're on the wrong complete lines here. Okay, we haven't set this up correctly right now. So, Havana South. If I quickly... Actually, no, I'm going to keep it as it's going. We'll do some waypoints. So we know that this is going that way. And that's going this way. So if I just do the waypoints there on that station. So they shouldn't... It's not a signal in terms of like, that's your designated route, go that way. I don't think it's like that. So Havana South, it comes through all okay until we get to this point. So we want to add that waypoint. So it runs through there. I'll add that as well, just so, you know, they're both in. Runs through the center. Goes into you. Into you. Stays on that line in the center until it needs to turn off there. Okay, then on the way back, it's doing what it needs to do. But we need it to hit that waypoint. So does that mean it stays in the center? It does. Okay, very good. I'll hit this one as well anyway. And then leading back up again. Hit you. I don't need both of these waypoints. I don't need them. And it stays in the center. So I don't need them, but I've got them. So the only time that line crisscrosses passengers is this section here. Just that little strip. And then it doesn't interact with the passenger line again. All the way until it incorporates its crisscross with this cargo line. And then the passenger line there. And that's the only time it kind of crisscrosses the passenger lines. And those passenger lines are the commuter lines. They'll never ever be incorporated where they crisscross a high-speed line. That will never be the case. That will ultimately never be the case. Are you a cargo? Are you the coal train or the ore train? You're the ore train, which means all my coal trains. So this one is already predetermined to be... Is that the passenger one? So you're already predetermined to be on the wrong side anyway. So that's fine. But you're on the correct side now. So there's a coal train now. There's the second one. I'm going to assume the third one is already on the way down. It is. It's actually here. So you can see how this is now going to work. Turns in. That one has to wait. That now comes down. Goes round. That have to slightly wait, but then can kind of continue. Coming around, and then you're in. So how much does this actually make then on one full journey? Let's find out as it drops off. 3.1 million. That's actually going to be a really, really good line. Which means that this for the first time ever... Oh, we've got towboats. We've got towboats. This for the first time ever is now producing steel. We might need to add a few more buildings so we can hold more cargo here. So cargo buildings, what holds the most? You hold 80. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So the trainer now takes the planks back and drops them off here for the boats. Can now take steel. This is pretty good. But we've just unlocked the tugboats, or towboats, whatever you want to call them. So it means we can now upgrade the capacity of what gets sent back and forth. Now, obviously, we don't have the system set up yet where we can deliver the machines. We've got to start bringing the machines back, but we'll give them time to start circulating with the steel anyway. So we actually now have steel on the platform for the first time. Nice. So as busy as this technically looks, everyone knows their role. Everyone knows what they've got to do. And everybody will do it. Perfect. It's just a case of finding out what's being delivered more than the other. So, after all that then, boys, we've got more efficient ways to deliver the goods to the USA. We've got a canal system. We are now delivering coal, which means we're inadvertently now producing steel, which we're now delivering steel to the USA. So the USA is getting 3 types of goods right now. It's getting cigars for Miami. It's also getting steel and wood for the manufacturing industry. And in return, we'll get machines out of it. Nice. Which also the machines will get delivered to Miami as well because the way that this vehicle line is set up. So yeah, interesting. Very interesting, boys. So before we do anything then, any lines losing money? The shipping route is still losing big stonks right now. But the revenue should slowly start to increase. I also feel like we need to change how the vehicles are delivering because there's a lot of wastage at the moment, isn't there? So if I duplicate to then duplicate to then duplicate, I've got 8 vehicles right now that can now deliver and give us a consistent flow and grow Miami just a tad bit more. We'll see how that gets on. It still might not be that great. But in terms... Oh, hang on. The boats are now making money. Where is it? So we've gone from barely making money, maybe every couple of years, to hopefully now making exuberant amounts of cash every year. And in terms of revenue right now, we've had a record income year of just under 100 million. Damn! Guys, let me know what you think. Let me know in the comment section down below. And until next time, I will see you all soon. So, goodbye.